What's going on, guys? It's Yugi Bros, and we got a versus video that'll shake the heavens themselves.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Yugi Bros! Zane Truesdale versus Seto Kaiba. Welcome to the new format, and with that, we are going to retry XYZ. Now, it's been a hot second considering this deck had Union Hanger on the Limit 2 list for a while, as well as Union Combination, the skill here being errated to having to stack a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Nevertheless, we're going to test it with the very straightforward cookie cutter 20 card list. This skill says once per turn during your main phase, you can place one card from the hand on the bottom of your deck, then special summon one light machine fusion monster from your extra deck that cannot be fusion summoned using monsters from your field or grave as material, ignoring its summoning conditions. For the rest of the turn, your opponent takes no damage. Our opponent is on Cyber Dark Style. This is one of the few skills in the game that I think is beautifully designed. I wish more skills in the game were designed like this. Once per turn, choose 3 Cyber Dark monsters from your deck. Your opponent randomly adds one of them to your hand, shuffle the other 2 along with one card from your hand back into your deck, then flip this card over. This skill can be used up to 3 times, once when your life points are 3,000 or less, once when their life is 2,000 or less, and once when your life is 1,000 or less. I love this because it's 3 times, it's not once per duel. I hate once per duel effects. I'm actually not a huge fan of twice per duel effects either, but it's still better than once. 3 times, but has 3 separate requirements as to how you use them. 3,000, 2,000, or 1,000, and I think that's very skillful in how it's built. Zane Truesdale obviously plays Cyber Darks. Kaiba is playing his good old XYZs. So we're going to test out playing XYZs with the newly unlimited Union Hanger at 3. And see if it contests once again. They're going to activate Cyber Dark Claw's effect, which says you can discard it to add a Cyber Dark spell trap from deck to hand. They're going to add Cyber Dark Impact. Then they're going to normal Edge, Keel, and Horn all say when normal summon, target a level 3 or lower dragon in the grave and equip that dragon to this card. It gains attack equal to the original attack. So by equipping the Claw to the Edge, he will gain 1,600 attack, putting him at 2,400. It's not a great turn 1. That deck does want to go second, more or less, because then the monster is susceptible to a lot of things, which we'll explain in a second. But nevertheless, they could only do so much, and they didn't want to pass on nothing. We're going to activate the newly unlimited Union Hanger, which says on activation, you add a light machine Union monster from your deck to your hand. And then once per turn, if a light machine Union monster is normal summoned or special summoned, you can target one of those monsters, equip one appropriate, keep this in mind, light machine Union monster with a different name from your deck to that monster, but that Union monster you equip cannot be special summoned this turn, because they do all have the effects where if they're equipped you can special summon them, but you can't do that if you use it through this. Appropriate though means based on what its text says. For example, Y Dragonhead here says you can target an X head cannon you control, equip it to this card. Unfortunately, you would only be able to equip a Y Dragonhead to an X head cannon. You can't equip it to a Z metal tank because it doesn't say so in the text. However, if you normal summon this Y Dragonhead, which we will do next in our turn, we can use this to equip a Z metal tank, because Z metal tank says you can equip it to an X head cannon or a Y Dragonhead. Why this one doesn't equip to either or I do not understand. Also keep in mind this only works with when you normal or special summon a light machine Union, so you can't summon X head cannon and trigger the field spell because he's not a Union monster. So the only play that this deck has viable to it is normaling Y Dragonhead and equipping Z metal tank. So we're going to equip that. It's going to gain 600 attack due to Z metal tank's effect. Then we will go to battle phase and ask for anything on attack declaration. They will say no, so we're going to activate Book of Moon here. The reason we do this is because Sphere Karibo, for example, has to be on attack deck. If they relinquish the ability to do so, then you go into like Battle Step or anything, and you can use cards. So for example here, if they say they have no response on attack declaration, then you use Book of Moon. They can't then do a Sphere Karibo, which I think is a strategic way to play around things. They're going to draw into Cosmic Cyclone. They're going to normal Cyber Dark Horn. They're going to equip the Claw to the Horn, put it at 2,400, swing into our monster. Also ask us anything on attack deck. We don't have anything, so they're going to Cosmic Cyclone the Z Metal Tank. So they're going to pay 1,000, banish that. That puts our monster down to 15, and then we take 900 from the battle. The reason they do that also is because these actually protect if the monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect. So if it was to attack this at the 2,100, we would take 3. This would die instead, and this would stay on the field. But also Cosmic, in this situation is really good against us because we need these pieces between our field and grave to contact fuse, but by banishing the Z metal tank, we no longer even have that option. They're going to then trigger Claw's effect in damage calculation, which says during that, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. They're going to send Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. We'll see why that comes up in a second. Before passing back to us, we draw into Book of Moon. We will go into normaling the Y Dragon Head, activate our Union Hanger, equip the Z Metal Tank once again, put this up to 21, go to battle phase, ask once again, do you have anything on attack deck? They say no, we activate the book, flip the monster, and rinse and repeat. They'll draw into a Cyberdark Claw. They will flip their skill because they are at the 3,000 or less threshold, so this will allow them to pick 3 cards from the deck. They're going to do Cyberdark Edge, Cyberdark Heel, and Cyberdark Horn. The opponent will randomly choose one. In this case, the game does it for you. So they get Horn, and then they have to also shuffle back another card from their hand. They're going to then activate Foolish Burial, dumping Cyberdark Heel to the graveyard, before then activating their all-powerful Cyberdark Impact. This is the fusion spell for the deck that says fusion summon 1 Cyberdark Dragon from your extra deck by shuffling 1 each Cyberdark Horn, Edge, and Heel from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck as fusion material, which is kind of nuts. So they're going to fuse this Edge, this Horn, and this Heel all from the grave by shuffling them back into the deck, which is actually really convenient for them as well, because it kind of acts as like a recovery type card, and then they will drop
Cyberdark Dragon!
Cyberdark Dragon says if it's special summon, you target any dragon monster in the grave and equip it to this card. So they're going to equip Blue Eyes Ultimate, and then it gains the original attack of the monster equipped and 100 attack for each monster in your graveyard. So this is now at 5,600 attack points. And then because they did normal summon, they're going to summon the Cyberdark Horn, equipping the Claw to that as well. They'll lose 100 attack on their dragon. But no matter, they're going to have Horn attack our monster. We're going to take 300. This will fall off. They're going to then trigger their Claw using its effect, dumping a Blue Eyes Ultimate, giving Cyberdark Dragon 100 more attack points, and they're going to swing over our Y Dragon Head for well more than game. So going into game 2, we're going to let them go first. They're going to set a defense. Interesting, we haven't seen them do that yet. Usually in Cyberdarks, they don't have much to set in defense. And 2, before passing back to us, we're going to normal our Y Dragon Head, set 2, and we're going to go to battle and swing in. And it's Red Eyes Baby Dragon, something I didn't expect to see, but nonetheless, it is a level 3 or lower dragon that they can equip Cyberdark to. But they can also do this little cute effect where they summon Gearfried the Red Eyes Iron Knight, then Baby equips to it, and then Gearfried triggers popping the baby to destroy one of our spell and trap cards. They're going to hit our Book of Moon before passing back. It doesn't matter here, they actually aren't playing a level 1, we'll get to that in the deck video though. So they're going to draw into Widespread Ruin, going to battle, have the Gearfried swing over our Y Dragon Head, any more damage step, they say no. We flip Rare Metal Morph, which gives a machine monster we control 500 additional attack and also negates the first spell effect that targets that monster. So this is really good a way to get around something like Book of Moon or Shrink. So they're going to take 200 there, and then it's going to draw into our turn, and we hit the Union Hanger, which they do not have a response for. We're going to add another Y Dragon Head, because it's the only one we can capitalize off of with the Z Metal Tank here, so we will equip just that, putting that monster up to 2100 before we go to battle phase and have this one swing in for 21, which they were going to Book of Moon. Keep in mind the Rare Metal Morph is on this Y Dragon Head to protect it from the first spell that targets it, so this will get flipped face down, and then we'll swing with this one, which is met with a Widespread Ruin, which our trap does not protect our monster from. They're going to draw into Cyberdark Horn. They are going to normal summon that, use its effect, and equip the Red Eyes Baby Dragon. That is the only target they have for it, but that does still put it at 2,000, and it does piercing. They're going to go to battle phase and swing into our monster, so we will take 400 damage from that. We're going to draw into X-Head Cannon. Normal summon the X-Head Cannon, activate our skill finally. We're going to banish a Z, a Y, and an X, summoning XYZ Dragon Cannon, and we also have to shuffle one card from our hand into, put it at the bottom of the deck. Then we will activate XYZ's effect, discard a card, hit their back row, and it's Widespread Ruin. Thank God it's not chainable. We're going to try and swing over for the horn here, but they activate Spirit Karibo from the hand, putting our XYZ Dragon in defense mode. They draw into Impact, but they can't do anything with it because they don't have the 3 pieces, and they can't activate their skill yet because they're not under the 3,000 life point threshold, so they will pass. We draw into Offerings to Doom. We're going to set that, no reason to use it. We'll have X-Head Cannon swing, XYZ swing over their monster for 800, and what we didn't consider the fact is that now that puts them exactly at the 3,000 threshold, which they will then trigger their skill. So they're going to reveal 3 cards from the deck. Cyberdark Edge, Cyberdark Edge, and Cyber Dark Claw. Adding the claw to the hand, setting a mysterious monster, and passing back to us. We're going to draw Book of Moon. We're going to activate XYZ's effect, pitching to pop the monster, in case it was a red-eyes baby dragon, but also to try to get 28 in here direct, which we do. They have the sphere, but they don't use it. That's interesting. They're going to draw into a horn, activate the skill once again, revealing an edge, and a keel. Using the effect here, adding the edge, they're going to then normal summon the edge, equip the claw, and then go to battle phase. And because edge has the ability where it can attack directly but does half damage, we're actually going to let that go. We don't want to burn this offerings just in case. They're going to use the effect of their claw, dumping a Blue Eyes ultimate. We're going to take 1200 and it will pass back to us. We draw a rare metal morph. We're going to activate XYZ's effect, pop this monster now, and try to go in for game, to which we are met with the Sphere Kaiba that they held earlier. They're going to draw into Foolish Burial. Activate the skill's final effect here, revealing Keel, Claw, and Claw, which adds them a Keel, and then puts the Foolish on the bottom. They're going to set the Keel and pass. We're going to draw into a Hanger, use the Hanger, use its effect, adding Z Metal Tank. Then we're going to have XYZ pitch that, hit their defense, go to battle phase, and swing for game. So they're going to make us go first. We're going to start out here with a Union Hanger, adding the Y Dragon head to our hand, normal summon, activate effective Hanger, equip the Z Metal Tank, setting a Book of Moon, and passing to them. It's not a terrible open. I wish we had one more Speller Trap, maybe Disruption type card, but we do have all our pieces. They're going to start out here with Foolish Burial, dumping the claw to the graveyard, normal summoning Red Eyes Baby Dragon. I did not see that coming. Before swinging into our Y Dragon head, which we will Book of Moon, but I feel like it's very obvious that they are baiting us here. To try and make a YZ. We're going to draw on a Foolish Burial. We're going to Contact Fuse, making a YZ Tank Dragon, which does say you have the ability to discard a card to target a face-down monster our opponent controls and destroy that target, which I feel, again, they are baiting us heavily. But they're going to let that go on the summon, so we're going to use its effect, pop the baby. Alright, so far so good. Interesting. Normal this X head cannon, because we haven't normal summoned yet this turn. We're going to go into battle, have X swing, and they're going to widespread, which pops our YZ. Okay, so the other one's probably a widespread as well, considering that's, I think, the only non-chainable disruption card they have in the deck. They're going to draw into an Allure, activate Edge, equipping the Claw, going to battle, have Edge swing over the X, then use Claw's effect to send Blue Eyes Ultimate from the extra to the graveyard before we take 600 and they pass back to us. We draw into another Hanger. Let's activate that. They're going to let that go, which definitely telegraphs the last back row is most likely another widespread. We have a Y Dragon Head. We'll use Hanger, equip Z Metal Tank, and activate our skill, banishing an X, a Y, and a Z, and summoning X Head Cannon, but because we have to also shuffle a card in our hand, we don't have anything to sadly pop anything, so we are just going to put this XYZ in defense mode and pass turn. We are convinced it's a widespread ruin. There's almost nothing else we've seen that they've played so far that it couldn't be. Good read on our part, I would say. Unfortunately, though, if they draw into something like Offerings, we're just dead in the water, but we couldn't contest the 2400 edge with any other monster, so we might as well force them to attack directly with it, was our logic, and just stick the XYZ in defense mode. Now they're going to use the skill once again, reveal 3, and add a Horn, putting the claw back on the bottom of the deck. They're going to set Book of Moon, go to battle phase, and swing for 1200, which then triggers the claw, and the claw will send the Blue Eyes Ultimate. So we'll take 1200 and they'll pass. We draw in a rare Metamorph, and I'm not going to lie, if they hit an Offerings, now that's the only way we save our XYZ. So let's actually save this rare Metamorph and pass one more turn and see what we can do. They're going to go once again to battle phase, swinging for another 12. We'll gladly take that. They're going to send another Blue Eyes Ultimate. There's only so much we can do. We might as well let it go. We draw an X Head Cannon. Now let's try using XYZ, popping the back row they've had that's been sitting there dead forever, and it is the Widespread Ruin. Now if this other back row isn't widespread and it is a spell card, we can stop it with Rare Metamorph. They will activate Book of Moon. We will chain Rare Metamorph, gives our monster 500 and negates the first spell effect that targets it. So our monster cleanly gets over the edge, and we feel like we're in a good position here. They're going to draw into Sphere Karibo. They're going to activate their skill, revealing 3 once again. before adding Cyberdark Keel and putting down the Cosmic Cyclone. They're going to set a Horn and pass. Interesting play. But they do know we can pop stuff with XYZ. We draw a Union Scramble, and while I would love to use this Scramble to summon more monsters out, I kind of want to just try and win the game now before they have a way to hit their Cyberdark Dragon. So we're going to pop their monster, hope that this is game, and unfortunately it is not, but they have, because they have the Sphere Karibo. But I will note the upside here is that now if they do drop the fusion and punch their XYZ, it's in defense mode. They draw into Book of Moon. They're going to set Keel, set Book, and pass. We're going to draw into Book of Moon ourselves. We're going to set it, put our XYZ in attack mode. Again, I feel Book is the only way we stop the fusion, so we're going to save that instead, and then we pop their Keel. They're going to draw into a Claw, use its effect, hit the fusion spell. Here it comes, boys.
Now I can fuse my Cyberdark Keel, Cyberdark Horn, and Cyberdark Edge.
Awesome! No way!
Say hello to Cyberdark Dragon!
This card is coming out at a whopping 55 plus every monster in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It should be 61. I'm pretty sure, though, we put it at 6,000. Whatever, either way, it's definitely going to be game if it connects. Good thing we have Book of Moon to deal with it, and the other downside to Dragon is he only gains 100 attack. He doesn't gain the defense. So unfortunately, if we attack into it while it's in defense, that's not going to gain anything. Also, this Blow's ultimate should be in the grave. We'll get there in a second. We draw into Offerings to the Doomed. We're actually going to keep this as well, in case they find a backup strategy. They're going to book our XYZ. That's fine. This dragon has no effect on us anymore. We're going to flip it, realize the ultimate's actually supposed to be in the grave, so they're going to keep it back down, actually, and we allow that. That's okay. We're going to set the Keel and pass. We're going to draw into Book of Moon, flip XYZ, set Book of Moon, go to battle, swing over the dragon, get that thing off our field, before they draw into Offerings to the Doomed, which they are going to shotgun, and I think the reason, more or less, is so that we don't use our effect to pop. I don't know. They still could have done it in our draw phase. We're going to chain Book, though, flipping our monster face down so it doesn't die to the Offerings. We're going to draw into an Hanger. I think we're out of monsters, but either way, let's just try to end the game now. Flip the XYZ, use its effect, pitch the Hanger, pop the monster, go to battle, and swing for game. So our opponent was playing Cyberdark with a little Red Eyes package, so I've been calling it Cyberdark Red Eyes. It's okay, it's cute. The deck is Triple Claw because this is your dragon that gives you the free discard effect so that you can equip your Cyberdarks to it, and also then adds the Cyberdark Impact. Double Edge, Double Horn, and 1 Keel. Interesting ratio. I actually don't mind this though. Keel is the worst of the 3, and when you have the ability to shuffle 3 of them back into the deck, you don't want to clog on too many of these. Double Red Eyes Baby Dragon. I think this is a cool tech, along with the double Red Eyes Gearfried Iron Knight. 2 Sphere Karibo, because this deck has absolutely no defense whatsoever. 1 Foolish Burial and 1 Allure. Also like this ratio, because you don't want 2 of these and you don't want 2 of these. Most of the time you can set up a dragon in your grave, but if you need a third piece for your impact, that's always there. And Allure of Darkness is just your generic draw card, since you are playing a plethora amount of dark monsters. Double Book of Moon, because this card is just really, really good. 1 Offerings to Doom, because this card is just really, really good. 1 Cosmic Cyclone. The reason being is because the skill has the 3,000, 2,000, or 1,000 requirement. Paying multiples of 1,000 gets you there a lot faster, especially if you start at full. So this essentially outs a thing and then also gives you a search, which is nice. They do the same thing with 7 tools in the side deck, which we'll talk about in a second. Blast with Chain as a one-of because of the Gearfried, but also it's just a good card in general. And then the rare Metamorph as well. The side deck is 2 Night Beam, 1 Fairy Meteor Crush for those pesky token decks, 1 7 Tools of the Bandit. It's interesting. I actually don't see this card get played as much as it probably should. The card's just really, really strong in the right matchup. And once again, it puts you under that 1,000 threshold if you want to then get a search the following turn, depending on where you've used the 7 tools, and then double widespread. The extra deck actually matters here. It's Triple Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon because it's the strongest dragon fusion you can dump through speed duels with Claw's effect, and then Triple Cyberdark Dragon, which never comes up. You're only resolving this card once, but the rest of the extra deck doesn't matter unless you were on a Waking the Dragon type deck. But let's talk about the deck we played. I told you, it's as cookie cutter as it can be. Double X Head Cannon, Triple Y Dragon Head, Triple Z Metal Tank. I guess in theory you could cut this Offerings for a third X Head Cannon, but because you can't do anything with X Head Cannon in this deck, I just didn't think it was necessary. Do I think this is the best way to go about this deck? Well, I will say now, because the skill requires you to then also bottom a card when you're using it. In that sense, you want this deck to be as consistently fast as possible, and fans playing Metaverse, I feel like this is the best way to go about it, but it is sadly very straightforward, and I'm not a huge fan of it because of that. Obviously, this deck lost a lot of power with the skill being errata, and because of that, you're playing an uphill battle a lot of the time. Sure, we did win the match, but did it feel deserved is more or less what I'm saying. So 2, 3, and 3, double Foolish Burial because now we can do that, triple Hanger because now we can do that, triple Book of Moon and Offerings because it's the best generic 4 cards that you can play, and then triple Scramble, which we barely actually saw in this matchup, believe it or not. Double Night Beam in the side deck, Fairy Meteor Crush again for the pesky token decks, double Widespread Ruin, and a rare Metamorph in the side deck. In the extra, because it also matters, to YZ Tank Dragon, because it's the easiest to make, taking a Y and a Z, and since Y and Z is easiest duo to put in the field due to Hanger, you play 2 for that reason. 1 XY Dragon Cannon. I will say this is the worst of the 4 of them. You discard to pop a face-up Spell Trap on the field, but it still can come up. Also, just as a beat stick, depending on where the situation that you're in. But if you don't play XY, I would recommend playing 2XZ Tank Cannon, because while this also is pretty niche, popping set Speller Traps is better than face up in most cases, but because it destroys the target, if it is a face down that they flip face up that's like continuous or something, this isn't going to resolve, unfortunately, to destroy it. But it is 24 as opposed to the 22, so I mean, and the 21, so 24 is the best aside from obviously XYZ. Alternatively, again, you could play 3 of this and cut this, but as you've seen, this is a lot harder to make than it used to be because of that skill errata, so I don't think you need 3 of them. It's tough to say, honestly, if this is the best way to go about doing this deck, or maybe there's a different way. It's definitely going to be interesting to see, since this is day 1 of the new format. There's going to be a lot of interesting builds probably played on Dueling Book that people will showcase. So again, we are in the very early stages of the new format, but because Dueling Book now abides by the new list, you will see a lot of people playing new list specific decks, so we'll have to see where we can go with it. But guys, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. And if you like what I've been doing here, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. The new one is live. The link to that is in the description. I've got a lot of cool ideas with that going forward, so you'll just have to wait and see what we're doing with that. But with that, as always, I appreciate the continued love and support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
For more amazing Speed Duel content, subscribe to Yugi Bros. It's time to duel!